Welcome back to another episode of One on One. I'm your host, Mitch Lafon, joined by Mark Strigl of Talking Metal. Good day, sir.
Mitch, how are you?
Good, good. So, another fun day of recording talk ups, and this time it's Zetro of Exodus once again. We're talking about Blood In, Blood Out, and he does an entire track by track breakdown of the album, including the iTunes bonus track and including the Japanese edition bonus track. So we go all 13 songs on this one, and it's interesting because both you and I got to interview him this summer.
Yes, we did. And, this is a big deal with Steve returning to the Exodus fold for this record. And there's been a lot said in the press and between him and Exodus through the years. So it's I'll say it's pretty cool that they've put everything aside and they got the guy back in. And not only they have him back in, I did hear an advanced copy of the record or an advanced download link. They truly, really are returning to the classic sound they had with Exodus back like on records like Fabulous Disaster and whatnot. So interesting. And I'm very interested to hear how he talks about these songs song by song.
Yeah, and what's also interesting, of course, is that, again, they're working with Andy Sneap, who, to me, is one of the greatest hard rock metal producers. I mean, what he's done with Accept is incredible, and he's done it again on this album.
I like to think of him, or I do think of him, as the Rick Rubin of metal. He really is. He is able to bring these bands back to what made them great in the first place and help them reconnect with their past greatness, if you will.
Yeah, and I've said many times, I would love to see current Kiss call in Andy because, Paul Stanley is a great frontman, great singer, all that wonderful stuff. I just don't think he's a producer. And in fact, that goes for all bands. I don't think they should self-produce. I don't care if it's Kiss or Accept or Led Zeppelin. Nobody should self-produce.
Right. It's interesting. This is totally kind of off the path here, but Ace, I saw a clip of him today on Loudwire, and he actually says in the clip, I don't know if you saw this, he suggests that he should produce the next Kiss record.
Yeah, well, as long as he's not in the band, but if he's in the band, then we're back to self-producing, and I just don't think that works. But Andy, I think, could push and pull the band into greatness. I mean, I really do. And I think Andy could do great work with a lot of the bands. I mean, just imagine a new Van Halen with Andy at the helm.
Totally.
Or Metallica with Andy at the helm. I think it'd be great. Anyway, so, we speak with Steve, or Zetro, depending on what you want to call him. And we also speak about the Heavy Montreal Festival, because in my interview with him in July, he said to me, Mitch, I'm going to come find you in the media tent, and I'm going to shake your hand. And I thought, yeah, sure. And he did. And I absolutely respect a person who keeps his word, and especially in the circus of a festival. I mean, there's all kinds of people pulling you, fans and band members and wives and kids, and the promoter wants this, and you got cater. And he just went, you know what? I said, I'm going to go. And he went. And so we talk about that. And then in the second part of the show, we actually did an interview with Al Barr of Dropkick Murphys, and they played the Heavy Montreal Festival. And so we talk about playing the festival and what the band's up to, and the Boston Bruins sucking and all that wonderful stuff, because he's from Boston. So we've got this sort of a revisiting of the Heavy Montreal Festival. And speaking of festivals, you wanted to talk to me about a festival coming to New York.
I mean, Heavy Montreal, one of the greatest heavy metal festivals in the world, and a massive one. But I want to tell you about a smaller heavy metal festival that's going to be happening in New York, the Brooklyn borough of New York City, to be exact, on March 13th and 14th, 2015. I will be there. I hope to see you guys there. This is just incredible news. It's the first U.S. show in 30 years with the original lineup of Exciter: Dan Beeler, Alan Johnson, John Ricci of the highly influential 80s heavy metal band Exciter. They're back together again, their first U.S. show in 30 years, and this is all taking place at the Defenders of the Old 3 Festival in New York City at the Bell House. Also appearing the Rods and the great Chicago band High Spirits. October 31 will be playing too. Definitely check it out. We'll have it linked through today's show notes in the one-on-one section on talkingmetal.com.
Yeah, that sounds great. And just before we get to Zetro and the track-by-track breakdown of their new Blood In, Blood Out album, let me just remind folks that I put together 2 albums, A World with Heroes and A World with Heroes, the EP, both Kiss tributes, with all the proceeds benefiting the Vaudreuil-Soulages Palliative Care home, a home where, unfortunately, my wife's father passed away a couple of years ago. And so we thought, my wife and I as a family, that donating money on a sort of this continuous basis with thanks to this tribute would be a nice thing to do. So there you go, folks. If you're interested, or if you like Kiss, head over to iTunes, look up A World with Heroes, not A World Without, like the Kiss song, and buy some music, support a good cause. And why don't we turn this over now to Zetro and his take on Blood In, Blood Out from track 1 all the way down to track 13. We got all the bonus tracks. We got it all covered.
Wow, cool. Let's check it out.
Here's Zetro. We are talking with Zetro of EXODUS. Good day, sir.
Mitch, how's it going? How are you today, brother?
Good. Before we get started, I just want to say one thing. Just a great amount of respect and appreciation for what you do. And
thank you.
Our last interview, at the end of it, you said, hey, I'm going to come out to Heavy Montreal and I'm going to come find you in the media tent. And honestly, right. I sort of went, yeah, sure. They all say that. And you did.
Yeah.
And,
I pride myself on my word, and I feel a man's word is his bond. So I'm really good about catching my interviews. If I say, hey, I'm coming, and basically we had no management or anybody to tell us what to do that day.
Yep.
So when I showed up to the venue, everybody's like, where are you going? I go, well, I'm going to go to the tent. Where are you going? They're going, we're going to catering. And I was like, okay, well, I'll see you. I told somebody I would see them there at a certain time, and that's where I'm at. So I appreciate that. Thank you for those kind words. I really do appreciate that.
And you showed up, and that's a true. I have a true mark of respect for a man of his word. And I guess before we just quickly start talking about Blood In, Blood Out, what did you think of the Heavy Montreal Festival? I mean, that was your first time, so what did you think of everything? The catering, the organization, the promoter, the stage, the fan, just everything.
I'd have to say, like Rob Halford said, this is probably the greatest festival I ever played.
Yeah.
Really great. I don't know if it was the lineup. I loved the little golf carts jamming you back and forth.
Yeah.
I loved that. I thought the smell, the under the bridge and the water, and just, I was like, wow,
yeah.
Well done. Dressing rooms were cool because it was really hot and kind of humid that day. And catering was best I've ever seen in my life, honestly. They had everything. What didn't they have there?
No.
That's all I could say. If you wanted spaghetti, if they wanted pizza, they had it. If you wanted a steak, they had it. If they wanted whatever you want, tacos, whatever, they had it. I would just have to say, just like Europe. And the way they ran it, especially the 2 main stages, one where they went bang, bang, and then the lineups were just so stellar, especially at the day that we played. I mean, I was up on stage pretty much all day if I wasn't in the tent talking to you guys, watching every other band, Body Count, and Hatebreed, and Lamb of God, and Death Angel. It was a great day. Slayer, it was an awesome day.
Just an incredible day. And of course, they have the candy bar in the catering tent, right? Where you can just go out with a little brown bag and get every...
Yeah, I didn't. I hired a trainer, so remember, I stayed away from that bar quite a bit. So, but I mean, the guys were coming up like, dude, did you see the cake over there? I'm like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw it, and it saw me, believe me. So I just stayed away. We just waved at each other. I went by it and waved at it. God damn, that was great. Awesome. Very awesome festival.
I'll just ask you the silly question of the day. Would you want to play that festival, Heavy Montreal, again?
Oh, I hope we get it. We have a new record out, so I hope we get invited back next year. You know what I mean?
And the year after, and the year after, and the year, yeah.
Yeah, as long as they wanted me there. You know how it is. You usually have to do things on a record cycle.
Yep.
But since that was kind of a new festival. I believe they're bringing other acts that aren't necessarily on the album cycles, but we happen to be on the next one. So I hope that's a plus. Definitely, we had a great time. Everybody treated us great. The hotel was nice. Everything was just very nice.
Yeah, it's just run absolutely professionally. The promoter Evenko is, class one. I don't think anybody could be classier than what Evenko does.
No, their crew was top notch. I love every time you went somewhere, somebody was checking your little badge that you had to, which is really great for security. I mean, people have lost gear and lost guitars, and then I understand that, the fans' point of view, but they've got to understand on a festival like that, it's almost maniacal. You're dealing with so many different bands and so many different crews and stuff. It's just really got to be tight. And I felt that, even when you walked into catering, you had to deep in, you know what I mean? I thought it was great. So I had a good time. The girls at the tent, at the press tent were awesome. So like when you walk up, you don't look like a dumbass. Hi, who are you? How can I help you? And I'm looking for them. Oh, wait just a second. We got them going on. So, and I love that. You know what I mean? I just really thought that the hospitality, I guess you would call it all around, from the press to the accommodations, everything was just top notch. One of the best I've ever played for sure.
And 80,000 people over the weekend. Unique in North America. I don't think any other city right now is doing it or could do it, quite frankly.
The only one that's running that we know of is right here in Sacramento. They just finished the second year. It's called Aftershock Festival.
Okay.
And again, it's not a tour. It's just Rob Zombie, Five Finger Death Punch, Godsmack, Of Mice and Men, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And they've run it 2 days. And I think the Sleep Train up in Roseville or somewhere, it's by Sacramento. And this is the second year they've done it. Butcher Babies. They have good acts. Last year, Testament, Megadeth, Avenged Sevenfold. So they're getting these festivals I think the United States is starting to go, hey, wait a minute. Really? Right. Europe's been doing this how long? And they do, and it's great because you play with a bunch of bands that you love.
That's right.
You get to go see all these bands that are that you wouldn't necessarily go see because, like, over there, it's like, they'll put LA Guns with, Exodus. It doesn't matter. Twisted Sister can play with that, and everybody's rocking to it. They were great that day, by the way.
Twisted Sister were killer, and
they brought it. Oh man, he brings it. Look at him. He's in such good shape. That's why I was like, I'm glad I hired a trainer because look at him, and he was how much older than me.
Yep.
And so the last probably month and a half since I came back, I've been hitting the gym every single day. I hired a trainer. I'm trying to bust myself into Dee Snider state, man. Really,
very motivating. I mean, I only weigh 170 pounds, but I look at Dee and I go, shit, I got work to do.
But just when he flexes his arms, he's got definition on his, on his tries, on his all the way around. He looks great.
It's absolutely fantastic.
And he's a guy who takes care of himself anyway. He's never been a druggie or a drinker. He's always said that. So,
Now speaking of fantastic, why don't we get right into Blood In, Blood Out? So the new album comes out in October. It's the return of your vocal prowess to the band. We said we're going to do a track by track, so let's do that. Let's start at the first track, Black 13, featuring Dan the Automator. Did you write that? Did you have any part of writing it? Tell me about the vocals.
The only thing I wrote on it, Mitch, was Body Harvest.
Okay.
Everything else was written. So basically, the Gary wrote pretty much the whole record.
Wow.
The only thing that Gary didn't write was the lyrics to obviously Body Harvest and the lyrics and the music to Honor Killings. Lee wrote all that. Okay. Everything else you hear is Gary Holt. So when I came in, it was written, but I mean, it's typical Gary Holt, lyrical tongue-in-cheekness.
Right.
When it's like Black 13, it's obviously it's betting. You can think it's a total gambling, coming from a gambling angle. Very vicious, heavy thrash riff that comes in, like you say, Dan the Automator just creates this monster effect over the first 2 minutes, I think, and then it just comes in with typical Exodus grinding guitars, and then that drum kicks in, and then you start to hear my evil snarl come pissing at you, you know what I mean? And it's just full-on onslaught, definitely. So, yeah, great way to open the record with Black 13.
Does it remind you of any other Exodus song from the past catalog, or is this sort of totally fresh, new?
You know what? To me, it's like opening the record with Deranged or Last Act of Defiance. It has the same bang. Here we are, right in your face. No time to breathe. Here we come. Here we come.
Perfect. Second track is Blood In, Blood Out, the title track. Yeah. So first of all, why did it deserve to be the title track? Why is the album called Blood In, Blood Out?
Well, Gary's explained that it seems like, Exodus is not just a brotherhood.
Right.
We it's blood to get in and blood to get out. And ironically, the title was the record before Rob, and I, that whole move was made. Mm-hmm. So it's just ironic that people are asking, hey, is this because of that? Because if you read the lyrics, it kind of has points to that, but that's not the case at all. And I think it's just, and the actual song is more of playing homage to where we were and where we started. If you read the lyrics, tonight we're going to rage and make Paul Bailoff proud. I love saying that line. We're the kings of pit insanity. I love that stuff. And basically it's kind of the tongue-in-cheek talking about what we did. All I'm telling you is do anything you want to do. That was the attitude. We'd be in a hotel room at a party after a gig, and I remember the Slayer party. This one was famous. It was like, Bailoff, throw the TV out the window. No, fuck that. Just grab the TV and throw it out the window. Who cares? What are they going to do? Bailoff picked up the fucking TV, walked out to the front, looked over the side of the fucking hotel. There was people that had hot to death. TV's going, psh. And when I read that line, when I was looking at the lyrics and I read that line, that's the first thing that I thought of. It just strung a chord with me, goosebumps. I'm just thinking, Bailoff throwing that fucking TV out of that infamous Slayer party at the motel in Berkeley. It's like, fuck, I remember, because that was the attitude. All I'm telling you to do is anything you want to do. And it was anything like that. You know what I mean? It was the 80s. It was the decade of decadence. We were kids. It was drinking, drugs, whatever. Bring it. Fuck it. We can do it. Handle it. Let's chainsaw our arms off. We can put them back on. That was it. And that's what I get from Blood In, Blood Out. And what a great way to open. I mean, It doesn't give you much time to breathe. It just kicks in and here he is. Because when I first heard it, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of lyrics in this song. Oh, yeah, you got to fit that all in one verse. I'm all,
well, on top of that, it's the shortest song on the album, so you really got to spit it out in like double time.
Oh, I know. It is, but I got it down. I practice a lot at my home. I've had the record for weeks now. So, I mean, I've been, especially I know that we're probably opening the tour with that, with Black 13 and Blood In, Blood Out. So, again, those two, I got to fire off right real quick. It's going to be, on and on that fast. So I have to fire it off like that. And I know that. But I'm pretty good with that. I've always been pretty good with decapated in the war, USS Macedon's cockstone, 644 conspirator. I've done it for years, saw on the Exodus records. Gary Holt is goddamn lyric writing. You have to fit this in there. Is that okay? We'll make it happen. So definitely great track.
Hey, are you going to need a teleprompter on stage to remember all those?
Don't
lyrics?
use them. Don't need them. Don't need them. Good. No way. Don't need that. I can do all the Exodus songs. What songs can you do? It's like, what songs can you do?
So see that's the mark of a true professional, right?
Yes, sir. I study. I study. Tomorrow we shoot the video for Blood In, Blood Out, and today I know the lyrics, but I'm going over them so that I know my mouth is going to sound and look right when they shoot it. So I got to do my homework, man.
Yeah, I want to get back to the track listing, but quickly you mentioned video. Full video with the whole band thing, or just one of these lyric videos that everybody throws up?
No, full video with the whole band with 120 extras and the set and the whole thing.
Good. That's good to see, because that's a lost art. But let's get back to Collateral Damage.
Sure.
Speaking of videos, I guess they were sort of the collateral damage of the breakdown of the music industry, but now they're sort of coming back. So let's talk about Collateral Damage. Third track on the album.
Probably one of my favorites. I think my vocal performance in there is, I like that one the best. I don't know for what reason. I like that, and I love the chorus of Numb, but I love this track. I feel that it's got so typical Exodus going on in it. When it starts, it just starts to rumble. You feel it coming in on you, and then the lyrical content again is just a typical, you know, down in society. You this is what you've made me. Gary Holt has brought this to this, you know, this point where this is what we are. You know what I mean? And look at it, and we're not. And there's nothing pretty about it. And so this is how we spell it. And just such great hooks. Awesome lead section in it, and then just really, really solid song. One of my favorites for sure.
Speaking of lyrically, since Gary wrote most of these songs, do you know what inspired him at all? Was it, I mean, is every song inspired by something different? Was there an event in his life? Do you know?
I think he has, it's a really dry, blatant take on everything in the world. And whatever he's looking at is that way. Okay. And it's usually from a pessimistic point of view, because that's what we are. We are pessimists because none of us are really, in fact, none of us believe in religion at all. We think it's a joke, you know what I mean? And we laugh at it. So a lot of the the lyrical content is how, and even stuff off the last 3 records since I've been singing the songs Iconoclasm and Children of a Worthless God, you can really, that really rings true. So I think it's a lot of social awareness stuff that's just the gutter stuff that nobody wants to look at, but it's just a rotten, bold-faced truth, you know, and that's basically where it comes from. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, and it's real. It's not like he turns it on or turns it off. He truly feels his way, and if you hear him give his views, and I'm glad that he doesn't go in the press and give his political views like some other musicians like to do. I don't think it's the forum for that, really, and when you sit with him, because I know him, and I get to listen to his point of view. He's really intelligent, really one of the most intelligent people I know. Very much so.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Gibson, all of the guys in Exodus are very smart in their own right, but you know, Gary's just really, really, really intelligent guy.
Yeah. Oh, that I fully agree, and of course, phenomenal player too, right? I mean, just
that's what I'm saying. When I say the real deal, I mean the total package.
Yep.
It's like if you go ask Scotty and go ask fucking Kirk Hammett. Go ask anybody in thrash metal who's the best. I'll say Gary Holt. Gary Holt by far. Jeff Hanneman picked him, you know, handpicked Gary, you know, himself. It wasn't Dave, Kerry, or Tom. It was Jeff Hanneman that said, if I can't do this, this is the guy that can. And I mean, he can, and he does it so great. And he's really fills it. And he makes you feel like Jeff is there. His leads. He doesn't create his own leads. He does what Jeff did. You know what I mean? And I think that really resonated with me, and he doesn't take any an essence of Slayer away. I think that he fits it really well. Jeff can't be there, obviously. What are they going to do? Stop? No way. They don't need to. They need to keep going. And I think having Gary there was the best they could. They couldn't have done better.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Now you mentioned Kirk Hammett, so let's go to song 4, Salt the Wound. Now, as far as I've understood, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Kirk did all his guitar work on this song while Rob was still in the band, and now you had to sort of rework the vocals. I mean, is that true?
Well, I mean, the lead was already recorded, but I knew much about that day. I guess Kirk came in because Jack, he engineered it, and I asked, you know, one of the times when we were on cutbacks, I was, you know, hey, how was it doing with Kirk? And he goes, oh, it's great. He came in and he played on it, and he did a really killer lead. And then I guess they made like hot dogs and beans after and drank beer and hung out just like the old days. I was like, no way. He's all, yeah, it was killer. He's all, he played and then he hung out for a while. We drank beer and we made hot dogs. We had a barbecue. I'm all, that was really cool. That's why, I don't know if you've seen the cover of Rock Hard, but it's Gary and Kirk on the cover of Rock Hard, and it looks like there's two brothers who are just so happy to see each other on it. It really is a warm picture, and you can tell it's genuine.
Yeah, and what do you think of the song?
Love it. I think it's great. I love it. It's got such a hooky groove to it. It's nothing like the rest of the record. That's why when they put the song out, and people are like, oh, it's a great song. Yeah, kind of got to go. I love the song. I don't know. Is this more Exodus? I'm thinking to myself, well, I'll say this. I love Salt the Wound, but it doesn't sound like anything else on the record. It's got a really good hook. We call those the chuggers, and there's not too many chuggers on this record. This record's pretty much like, you know, the first three are just right in your face. So great song, though. Great lyrical content. Again, something like, I guess I'm fed up with your bullshit. And so it's just like, I'm just going to keep putting more logs on the fire. You know what I mean? It's salt in the wound. Same kind of wordplay, same kind of tongue-in-cheekness that Exodus always has.
Yeah, and great to get Kirk back in the band.
Lovely.
Even if it's one song, hey, we'll take it.
Well, no. I mean, I think the attitude is, man, how cool is it to do other things at this point in your career? They're the kings. I mean, it doesn't go bigger than that. You understand? Yep. So what else is better than to get back with the band that you kind of abruptly left for a great job? No, I take nothing away from that. I know the same thing. I left from Legacy to Exodus, so I know that. So I know that feeling is. But how cool is it to go back? I've gone back and even written music for my old band. How great is it that he comes back at a really cool time? When their kind of original singer comes back and the band has kind of recaptured that sound a little bit again. I think the songs are very much that way, although I do hear a lot of what they've done on the last 3 records as well, and this stuff as well. And I won't say I think the lead work is very much like that, but I just thought it was neat that somebody of such stature is coming back to play with his boys, and it's really cool, and we're very honored and very proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like when I was talking about you and the respect I have for you coming back at Heavy Montreal. A lot of respect for Kirk for doing this because he doesn't have to. He could.
No. This is the thing, and I'll tell you, Mitch, when we were in San Diego during Fear Fest, we played the little club, the after party thing. The place holds maybe 300 people, right? And we did 45 minutes, and then he came out and played 4 songs with us. Him and he did 3, and then Robert came out, and actually it was Robert and Kirk doing Seek and Destroy with Exodus, and Marco Segeda and I sang, and it was awesome. Yeah. And then he did a bunch of other shit, and anybody could walk up to him and talk to him, and he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to be there and give a shit less. Nobody, you know what I mean? He's there to sign. On his Horror Fest thing, when you walk in to see his exhibit, he's there to meet everyone and say, hello, how are you doing? He doesn't have to do that, and that's what I think is great. And when I was watching him playing on stage, even when I wasn't there, when like Richard Christie from the Howard Stern Show was playing drums, and they had Doug from the King's X, he was singing, and just awesome different people. I could see how much fun Kirk was having in his face, and when he played Grinder with us and we did Godzilla, it was just, you could see that this is why I do this, you know what I mean? I love horror, I love playing in Metallica, but this is cool, just being in a club on Friday night, jamming metal tunes with these cats, and I could see that it wasn't a job. It wasn't a job in his face, and I love that. That was the part that really made me go, wow, these guys have gone from being huge to being icons, to being untouchable, now to being like, hey, let's talk about, hey, what kind of dog do you have? Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? That kind of shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like it's gone beyond that, and I totally respect that, and that's why I think it makes it that much more special for him and his performance on our album as well.
Yeah, and of course, it's great to have that Metallica association with a new album.
Who the hell? Well, come on. What do you mean? I'm not going to deny that. No, what do you mean? No, it's all about brotherhood. No, the big M means a lot. I'm not no fool. I know, I get it, and I'll be the first one to admit it. Huh? Everybody knows me for my candor. It's completely honesty. So, I'll give it all that. That's why they're like, what song should be the first song? And I said, what are you, fucking crazy? Salt the wound. Milk that fucker as far as you can. Yeah. Let's do video with him and get him a guest spot. Metallica's not busy right now. Fuck it,
That's right. You should get all 4 Metallica guys in the video and have Kirk play while the others 3 just, are leaned up against the wall with their arms folded looking at it or something.
No, like James has a bunch of cars. Yeah. He could be playing there, and he could be like waxing one of his 50 cars. I don't know. I don't know. No disrespect to those guys, of course. And
you could have Lars adjusting a painting on the wall in the background.
Oh, see, you got it. You're directing the video. See, fuck it. We're gonna run with this now.
There you go. Yeah, just call me and I'll come and direct them. That'll be fun.
I see that already. Body
Harvest, the song you wrote. Song 5.
Yeah, song I wrote, but had some direction on it. Actually, song I wrote with Jack Gibson and Lee. Okay. We were in the studio one day, and it was one of the lyrical contributions from Rob, and they just didn't want to keep his version So they wanted the song title the same. It's basically about waking up in a room, like after you've been drugged, and finding out that, hey, there's a note there saying, your kidney has been taken out. Here's a phone. You better call 911. Basically, the guy goes in. He goes. The ambulance takes him. He goes and gets, sewed up, new spleen put in, whatever. And then he's like, hey, wait a minute, I could do this. And then he turns from the hunted to the hunter, and he does it to somebody else. And it's like selling the body parts. So basically, typical Exodus violence. We're going to talk about things that exist in the world, but nobody wants to talk about, and that's just part of it. So it's kind of something that kind of a twisted story, kind of cool.
Yeah, but I mean that whole kidney harvesting thing, for the lack of a better word, dude,
whatever, they'll kill you and take whatever.
It happens in India all the time. I read about it in the news. There's this major kidney harvesting thing going on in India, and you go, wow, that's insane. But hey, there you go. Let's move on. You mentioned Testament before, so Chuck Billy, BTK.
Yes, sir. BTK. The BTK killer, right, obviously.
From
Wichita Killer,
the 70s?
He was the
Bind, Torture, Kill. Was that from the 70s, that guy? And that was in...
I think so, yes, exactly. Again, penned by Gary, but I did my homework on him just so I knew what we were talking about. And just, again, a brutal story about some realism. I think kind of like the Ballad of Leonard and Charles, kind of like, hey, the typical, we're going to talk about a serial killer. That kind of intrigues us a little bit because I do the same thing with my other band. It's kind of the same way. Horror, very vicious stuff, very much intrigues me, very much so. And great vocal at the end of the song with Chuck and myself, like old school Dublin Death Patrol, but a little bit heavier, and great track. Again, one of my favorites. I hope we play that one live. I really do. Yeah, I hope we play that one live.
I do too. Now, when a guy like Chuck Billy of Testament comes in and to lay a vocal, do you, I don't know, do you just go, I'll do what I do, or do you think, wow, I get all nervous, or I try to up my game,
well, no,
or it's a competition?
Chuck and I know each other.
Right.
No, Chuck and I know each other. I mean, Chuck took over Testament. I was the original singer, so him and I told him to take that job. And then through the years, I've written Testament music on the last 2 Testament records. Last one I wrote 3. On Formation, I wrote More Than Meets the Eye and Days of the Faithless. I write the lyrics to that shit.
But of course, that's it though. Do you feel a little extra sense of competition going in? No, okay.
No, not with Chuck. No, we don't look at each other like that. I can get in the room with him and go, because when I auditioned for Exodus, he was there. He manages Exodus. He's part of the management team. And I can go, hey, Charlie, how's that sound? What do you think? No. What do you think? Should I do it this way? No, Zed, that's fine. Or, nah, Zetro, you got to do it like this. And that's how our relationship is. So we get in there, and it's like, you're going to do your death. I'm going to do my ice cream. We're just going to stay in time. So it's going to be so that we're on top of each other in the point. And basically that's how we did that. And I think it came out great.
Yeah, it really did. Wrapped in the Arms of Rage. Another, I think the second shortest song on the album, the third shortest. Tell me about Wrapped in the Arms of Rage.
Wrapped to me is probably my around second and third favorite. For some reason, I liked the way of the vocal approach. I like the musical approach. I think the lyrical content is more of like it's a divinity of Death Divine. It's more like how the world is just kind of, we're wrapped in this whole scale of religion and violence and wars and things going off, and we're just kind of all wrapped in the arms of rage, and there's really no way out of it. I mean, you can't get on an airplane right now without going through a total scanner. I mean, I remember in the 80s, I used to walk on planes and laugh, and there'd be tons of lanes, aisles open. Now, anybody who walks through, if you look at somebody wrong, it's like, put your hands, get guns in there, go, this guy got it. You know what I mean? That whole thing. So I think it's wrapped in the arms of rage is really the violence and the paranoia of everything. And I love the middle hook, the way it just stops and gets really heavy. And then they go into the leads. One of my favorites. Again, on this album, and I've said it before, I do not fast forward through any of the tracks. 1 to 11, I listen to every one till the next one. And there's been all the Exodus records. There's not one where I go, song 3 is cool, but I love song 4 and 5. So click, you know what I mean? I don't do that on this album. Listen to every song.
My Last Nerve, track 8.
A song that they didn't want to keep, that I heard was almost not on the record. I'm glad they did. I love the breakdown at the end of the song. Right. Exodus has never done a breakdown like that. When I played that for the guys in Hatred, who remember are 20, 25, you know, they're like, "Dad, awesome breakdown." I go, "I know, I loved it." It sent chills when I heard it. I guess, you know, kind of like, you know, you've gotten in my face. You pissed me off. This is your wife, your boss, anybody, and you've just strung me out. And this is the last thing, you know, you're my last nerve. I can't take it anymore. And again, it's really from his heart here. He writes lyrics really from his heart. He'll take social issues that he sees and he just writes them from his heart. And I feel them when I sing them. I know exactly what he's talking about. The stories are there really easily. I pick up on them. So, and I don't even have to sit there and go, "Gary, what's this one about?" I feel them very much so.
Yeah, I'll move on to Numb in a second. Why did they almost not keep the My Last Nerve?
You know, I don't know. I heard Jack just say, because I came in after I'd done a few tracks, and I go, you know, and at that point, and my favorite song changes every 3 days. It's unbelievable. And at one point, that was like when I first heard the stuff, I just loved the way with the Evo on it. And I loved it, and I was like, I love my. You know, that one didn't almost. Gary didn't want that on the record. I'm all, really? I love that song, and so I'm glad it's on the record, very much so.
Yeah, me too. Numb, track 9.
My favorite, period. My favorite on the whole album.
Why? What's it about? What makes it so? What makes it so good?
What's so good about it?
Yeah.
When it comes to the end, it goes John at the end, and that hits you like Exodus in the face. There's nothing that exemplifies Exodus more than that fucking change. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, nothing. I mean, it's great.
That when that change comes in, it's just open chunk guitars, and it goes in from the halftime to the quarter time before the leads after the first vocal part. It's so heavy. Right. That is so heavy. And I love this I'm callous, remorseless, sympathy just seems so useless, black-hearted, and worthless, desensitized and ruthless. I just love that. It so fucking nails it, you know? I love the lyrical content. Numb, I can't take anything that's going on right now. I'm numb to what's going on and everywhere. Dead bodies on the street won't give it a second glance.
Is
famine,
this
poverty, just victims of circumstance? It's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm numb. I can't take it anymore. Don't want to hear it. And, you know, and that's what I love about it. It's just so, distant from everything else. It's just like you're just completely like turned off by everything. Again, Gary feels this stuff really, really well. It's so right when you lead. And I love my approach in the chorus. I'm callous, remorseless, sympathy just seems so useless. I just love. It's so fucking evil to me. If it wasn't me doing it, I would go, dude, that's evil as shit. I love that. So I can step out of myself and go, oh, that does sound cool. That does sound cool. I don't do that a lot. You know what I mean? But I'm very confident in what I do. I know I sing heavy metal. I know I sing thrash metal. I know my voice is very evil. I could probably do a cartoon and go, oh no, they're coming to get us. You know, I'm sure I could fucking do that. No problem. It's like basically, to me, it's just evil and very vicious and very violent. And that's why I feel numb better. When I get to numb, it's always, numb. Although I love them all, but I'm glad when for some reason, when that part comes in.
Is that one we're going to see in the set list?
I hope so. But the timing on that song was just, for me and Tom had talked about it. He goes, oh, now me and Gary went rounds over it. I go, I know. When me and Jackie were tracking, that was the one that took me the most time. But I hope so. Yeah. I know that when we go out and headline, we're very proud of this record, and we want to play a lot off this album. So we're going to do a lot of old school. I mean, you're probably going to see an hour and 45-minute set. Something like that, long time for us to be on stage. There's a lot. 10 records now, Mitch. 10 fucking albums, man.
I'm telling you, doing thrash metal for an hour and 45 minutes, you have got to get in that Dee Snider shape, because otherwise you are not going to survive.
I'm hitting it every day, bro.
Yeah.
I'm hitting it every day. Every fucking day I'm hitting it. Every day. I got to go to South America on Sunday. That's an hour and 35 every day.
Wow.
Every day. Huh? So I'm in it. I'm in the gym every fucking day. Regardless if I like it, or not. I know what I've got in front of me. I'm 50 years old now. I know I have to bring it. Bruce is like, what, 56, 57 guys running from side to side, jumping over the fucking monitors. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, look at Kiss. They're in their 60s. The two main guys, and they're doing it with 7-inch heels. So,
and I know, look at Paul's stomach. It's still fucking washboard. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So yeah. I'm all with that, definitely.
Honor Killings, track 10. Honor
Killings, very great song. Lyrically, it's about how women, in those nations over there, those Islamic nations, I mean, they kill them if they happen to get raped. You know what I mean? How they, it's basically how their religion tells them that a woman is not even really a second-class citizen. So that's basically what honor killings is about. Is that a father kills his wife, a son, a father a daughter, a son his mother. If they step out of line over there, I mean, the burqa is the thing. If you step out the burqa, you're just basically about how that how the Quran tells them, their Bible tells them, that this thing is right. So another very socially aware thing. Lee Alphys wrote the lyrics to this, very brilliant lyrics to this. Again, another change at the end of the song, or towards the middle before the lead section. To me, it sounds very kind of like Disturbed-ish, kind of like bouncy, kind of something Exodus has never really gone into. But again, when I played it for my kids in the bed, I'm like, Dad, fucking that rules. I go, I know. So, man, Gary's got some of the great killer old school, but a lot of new school in there. I go, I think it's well blended, very well written album, just all the way around. And before I even recorded it, I heard it, and about 2 days before I recorded, he was in Europe with Slayer, and I called him and I said, hey, I don't mean this to say this in a bad way, and please don't take this in a wrong way, but you being in Slayer, you being just married recently in the past couple of years, sending your daughter through college, doing those types of great things, raising your other daughter, helping Lisa, his new wife, out with her daughter, and he's really good dad to her as well. You wrote a fucking amazing record with the distractions you have, and he's all, thanks, man. I mean, honestly, to listen to this thing from top to bottom, I'm just like, oh, you stand up and applaud, period. And not because I played with you, not because you got me back in the band. I'm not trying to kiss your fucking ass. I don't have to do that. You know that. I'm just to go in here as a vocalist, listen to these songs, especially as a metal fan still, and go, wow, Holt, you fucking nailed it, man. You really fucking nailed it.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. There's an absolute excitement about this record. And I haven't felt that with a lot of metal releases in the last few years. But this one, it's everything I've heard about it, everything I've heard myself, it's just, I think you just hit the mark. The perfect storm, it just all came together between you and his writing.
I agree. Right. The timing is everything. Leave it to this band for the 10th album to maybe break. You know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I mean? You just never know. You can always be optimistic in every record that I do, and that means Tenet, Double Death Patrol, Hatred. I'm very optimistic for every album, but I'll tell you this. I've never seen the stars line up for an Exodus album like this. Now, we've had Bill Graham management in the past. We were on Capitol Records, yada, yada, yada. This has never been so great. Nuclear Blasters were really on top of it. Maria, Chuck, Johnny at Breaking Bands, and then of course Maria uses, with Adrenaline, all of that force, and then having, the agency behind us so well. It's just, everything is just, wow.
But
and
also,
the band solved, the album is great. It's just, I've never seen the stars line up, Mitch. I just haven't.
But also at the end of the day, regardless of management and publicists and vocalists, if the music's no good, it makes no difference. And this time,
I agree.
The music is killer. Speaking of killer, Food for Worms, which is what we all end up being at some point, right? So
right, and that's basically what it is. It's like, again, the Exodus point of view is that religion is bullshit. Don't try to put your stars that you're going to go to some happy gate full of life where there's going to be fields of gingerbread fellows and people will be dancing with sugar plums in their eyes, and you'll be in our eyes. When you die, that's it. You go into a coffin, you go in the ground, and you're food for worms. And it's funny, I watched this show that was on HBO. I guess it was a series called True Detective. Do you know about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the first episode, Matthew McConaughey. They're driving in a car, and Woody Harrelson's talking to him, and he wants to know about him, and he wants to know his take. And his take is like, we're all programmed wrong. This is wrong. We're just a big mistake. We all think that we're going to this fathom place in the past when all we're really nobodies, when we all think we're somebodies. And I was like, wow, well put. Because I feel the same way. We're all nobodies. When we die, we go on the ground and that's it. And it's over with. There's no beautiful world going. I mean, there's no... in our eyes, that's what I believe. And again, I don't step on anybody's beliefs. I worked right alongside a guy who was a Christian, and I respect what anybody believes. This is just where we come from. And food for the worms is like, there is no pearly gates, just, tags upon our toes,
But that whole
that's the way it is.
That whole quote from McConaughey from that show is a perfect lyric. I mean, that right there, that's a song.
It's almost awesome. It's almost. My son was here. My son Cody, he's my oldest. He actually believes the same way I do. He's very much, agnostic in that fact, but almost atheist. He goes, come on, give me a break. We're evolutionist science. Prove it to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of thing. And I brought that piece up because I DVR'd it, and he watched it, and he goes, "Oh my God, Dad." I go, "I know. Did he fucking nail it? He nailed it. He nails what we believe. He nails it. He tells it like it is." You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that. And I thought that was great. I love honesty. I really do. That's why when I tell you I'm going to meet you in the tent, I hold it. It's honesty. I try to be as honest as I can. I keep my word. I feel that's all we have as humans. We don't have money. We don't have possessions. We have our word and ourselves. Try to be as genuine as you can,
Yeah, well, you have your honor. I mean, that's
I agree with that 100%, and my word is everything. And if I say it, even if I have to eat shit on it, I'll fucking open my mouth. Do you understand? I don't care. It's part of it.
Yeah, got to be accountable. Now, I'll ask you a couple more things. I know you have other interviews to get to.
Yep.
There are 2 extra tracks that are coming out. There's one that is going to be for the iTunes and the digital editions, the Angel of Death, Angel Witch cover. How did the band decide to cover Angel Witch?
Well, actually, when one of the, Tom has done 3 stints in the band as well, and one of the stints when he wasn't in the band in the early 90s, he actually played with Angel Witch for a while and Kevin Hayborn.
Right.
So he has a good relationship with him. And, I did not sing that. Did you hear it? Tom sang it.
I haven't. That's one song I have not heard.
That's not me. Oh, it's not me. It's Tom. In fact, when we got in the studio, he goes, well, I'm not singing that. You are. He goes, what? I go, your relationship with Kevin and you got a great voice because Tom is a really, really good singer. He can sing 70s shit. It'll blow your mind. And it's like, I go, why don't you do it? I'll sing the backup on it. So you hear me screaming in the back. You hear my voice on the choruses, and there's a couple of lines, and then you hear me, but Tom sings the lead on it.
Oh, does it? So, and
it's actually 3 songs. We did Hell on Earth by Discharge, and we did Protect.
Well, that was the next one
by the Verukers.
Right, I was going to ask you about that. That's the Japanese edition bonus track, Protect Not Dissect, featuring Anthony Rat Martin, formerly of Discharge.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, he came in the studio when Andy Sneap was mixing it in England, and he did it. And I just thought, when I heard it, so when you listen to it, it doesn't even it's me on the vocal, but it doesn't sound like me, and I love it. It's one out of all the 3 of the covers, that's my favorite one, man. It's just so heavy. And it's like, punk music isn't really done with production, but this is like done. All 3 songs are done with really good production. So it's like what punk would sound like if you did it with good production, and it sounds killer. Awesome. Makes you want to start a pit in your room, I swear to God.
It really does. Let me just quickly ask you about the 3 covers. So those 2 are coming out on iTunes and on Japanese bonus track. What's the 3rd one, and will it come out at some point?
I thought that they were putting it on. I thought that was what's that? Hell on Earth and the 2 songs that Discharge. They play these 2 songs together, and it's another one in Hell on Earth, and I don't really listen to them. So I only listen to the 11 because I know I'm not going to play the covers on stage. So I haven't prepared myself for those, and it's awesome. Yeah. But it's 3 of them, and it's what if you went to Discharge, it's always / Hell on Earth, and it's the first song, and then they run together. You don't even notice that it's 2 different songs. It's basically 4 songs if you were to put them.
When you think about it, okay,
3.
Fair enough. And then last thing I just need to talk to you about is producer Andy Sneap. when Kiss went into the studio to do Sonic Boom and then Monster, I kept saying, boy, Kiss really needs a new producer, and I think Andy would be perfect for him. And of course, he and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he helped revive Accept. He's done great stuff.
I was going to say, that was the next thing out of my mouth that you just said. I was going to say, listen to Accept, listen to Saxon.
Yeah,
go listen to Sacrifice. Listen to Go Sacrifice. Holy shit, that album is fucking heavy as shit. And go work with a man who knows what he's doing. You can't, and you know what's funny is I played Bang Your Head Festival with Loud, and it's Chris Tangrides.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Tangrides produced Force of Habit. You know, he was a big producer in the 80s, early 90s. He produced Judas Priest, Concrete Blonde. He did Painkiller. Great guy. And we were talking about that. I go, how's the work these days, Chris? He goes, well, you know, you come in, you go out. I go, Andy, see, he goes, Andy's the man now, isn't he? I go, oh yeah. They're lined out the door to get Andy to do their gig. Yeah. Hell yeah, because they know what they get. By the way, the new Accept is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I think they did what we did, what Saxon did. I don't know what they did. What was it? It was going back to the formula or whatever, but I love it. I love every song.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Blind Rage is a killer album. You know, they've
amazing record.
They've done 3 with Tornillo with Mark, and I think Blood of Nations and Blind Rage are just absolutely exceptional. I think Stalingrad was good, but I just think that first one with Mark was just out of the park, and then Blind Rage. I mean, Andy.
And I love him too. I do love him.
Yeah.
And actually, I got a chance. Hatred played Eindhoven Metal Meeting last year and Accept headline. It was great. I got to hang with him for a little while. Good guy, because it seems like everybody always go, what are the top 25 best changes of singers ever? And I'm always right above him or right below him on every one of those. I feel like I'm his friend or something, you know?
You're a partner in crime. No, but
exactly. My partner in replacement is always number 1 is Brian Johnson. Number 2 is always Bruce Dickinson. Number 3 is always Dio, you know what I mean? And then it goes down. And I always either end up in the top 10, like 8 or 9, and he's either 9 or 8, or on top 25, I'm usually 18 and he's 17. It's just funny. It's hilarious. I know him through that.
Yeah. Well, I guess what you need is an Exodus Accept tour. We'll call it the Andy Sneap
tour. That
tour.
would be awesome because we're both on Nuclear Blast, and I would say, and fans would love that, and
absolutely.
I would love to do a tour with Accept.
Oh, absolutely.
I love Wolf Hoffman. It would be great. I would welcome that in a minute.
So what do you think of Andy's producing? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong,
Andy's
but you've never worked with him before.
When I know it's going to him, I know what's going to happen.
But you've never worked with him, right?
I've worked with him. He recorded Temple of the Damned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was actually the person who actually recorded Temple of the Damned. So I've worked with Andy many times.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a great email after the tracks. He said, "That awesome job. I had no problem mixing your vocals. I'm all good because I was prepared."
That's right. He did all the way back in 2000. Well, you know, you forget these things as we go through years, right? I'm getting old. It's not just rock stars that get old. The rock journalists get old too, and you start forgetting stuff.
No, I know. And you got to write about this shit so I can imagine. And it's like, Zed, remember this gig you did in 2002? And you were like, I'm like, what? Where? Are you fucking kidding me?
But that's right. So you did work with him before. So,
right.
Yeah, listen, from the outside, I just think that he's got it. He knows how to take a band like Exodus or Accept and pull out the best out of them.
Oh yeah. Totally.
You know,
and you know, and he's done Exodus since '98, since
right.
Another Lesson in Violence. He was one of the first bands that when people didn't even know Andy Sneap. So our loyalty and his loyalty with us, it's like we don't move on and work with anybody else because there's no need to. The pie tastes great. Why fuck with the formula, you know?
Yep, absolutely agreed. I personally wish that more of my classic heavy metal guys, Anthrax, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Kiss, I wish they would all go make one record with Andy. I really would love them to do that because they would be their best albums they've done in 20 years, easily, in every case. My opinion.
Right.
My opinion. You know? Anyway, there you go. Thank
you, sir. You are the man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. And you're the man, too. A man of honor, and that's even more important. And, you know, anytime you want to chat about Exodus or anything else, whenever you're in Montreal.
I appreciate that, Mitch. I really do.
Yeah, when
I really do. You've done us right. It's been great. You know what I mean? I love your response. Very well respected journalist, and it's great to always talk to you, sir. Always.
There you go. Everything you wanted to know about Blood In, Blood Out, the new Exodus album. You got it straight from the source, my folks.
Right on.
13 tracks. I actually think I want to go buy the Japanese bonus track to hear Rat Martin X of Discharge duet on Protect Not Dissect. And of course we got all the answers about Kirk Hammett's involvement on this and Chuck Billy of Testament and all that wonderful stuff.
Right on. Cool.
Since we spoke about Heavy Montreal, I want to make this sort of a Heavy Montreal themed show, and let's go over to Dropkick Murphys singer Al Barr, an American Celtic punk band. I mean, does it get any better than that?
Yeah. Well, when you hear these guys, you hear that I always almost feel like, what is it, like an Irish flavor, right?
Yeah, that's your Celtic for you.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting that Heavy Montreal decided to go a little bit outside the norm and not just stick with, 18 bands that sound like Exodus and 18 bands that sound like Anthrax. I think it brought in a new crowd, and it made it interesting to see the Dropkick Murphys ahead of Metallica. Is not something you're going to see every day, and that's why it makes festivals interesting, and that's why it makes Heavy Montreal in particularly interesting. So, let's listen to this to Al talk about everything the Dropkick Murphys are up to, and here, let's take it away. Here is Al Barr. Okay, good. So let's talk about the last album. Let me take this nice and calm. Signed, Sealed, in Blood. Came out in 2013.
Yeah, seems like forever ago. We've been on the road so long.
So long, yeah. And Dropkick seems to have sort of a 2 to 3 year interval. So have we started on the next album?
We have started to kind of move towards that direction. We started. I mean, we were on tour. We've been on tour since June, so we thought it would be good and productive to spend some time, while we're on the road and we have so much downtime to work on, songs. So we're starting to work on stuff, but there's certainly, you know what I mean? If you were looking at it as like sweeping up a dust pile, there's still lots of little piles to put together. So there's nothing, nothing to get excited about yet, but we're definitely moving towards that. Yeah.
Do you write on the road regularly?
I personally write whenever the mood hits me. So it's if you were to say, Al, go sit and write a song, you'd find me swinging from a tree, like hung by my neck, because I that's just not how it works. It's never worked that way for me. I mean, any song that I've ever written from the time I was 14 years old in my first band till now, it's been like, something's inspired it, whether it's been music that I've heard or something that, it's something that comes from within me. Right. And then I just kind of, like I'll sing it used to be recording. Now they have these great smartphones, and I use the little recording device on that. I mean, I remember driving down the road and calling my answering machine at my house to sing my idea into the answering machine, so when I got home I could
have all these ideas.
Yeah, have the idea, exactly.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. How has technology changed it? Because that used to be the thing, that recorded by the bed and the answering machine. Does it make it easier? Does it make it better?
Yeah, it does.
Or do you just get up with a lot of crap on your phone?
It makes it easier, definitely. I mean, yeah. There's always a lot of crap. I mean, I have, in my notes section and in my recorded section, I don't even know how many ideas, whether it be like a full idea or just like a splinter of an idea. Right. It always seems like the splinter ideas go better than the full ideas. But it's funny, I'll be in this mood and I'll be like, oh, this is great, and then I'll go back to it and be like, this is shite. So, you know what I mean? So there's always a lot of crap to filter through, but it definitely makes it easier to organize. And,
So
one of the good things.
The other thing about the Dropkick Murphys is you do have a political agenda, or you have a political opinion. Let's call it that.
Neighborhood politics.
Yeah,
we're not really on that. You know what I mean? We don't. I mean, I got to stop you at Paul. I mean, we're not the kind of person. We're not the kind of band, rather, that like really. We don't really want to get. I mean, obviously we're pro-union. Obviously, right. Obviously you can kind of get an idea of where we're going to stand on things by the slant of our songs and everything. But as far as like, you know, like backing a person for, you know, for office or that kind of thing.
More political ideas.
Yeah.
Right, the whole union thing, for example.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, the world is so different now. It's so, I mean, the Democratic Party has driven me out. The Republican Party has nothing I'm interested in. I'm more of an independent, if you were going to.
At this point, right.
At this point, you know what I mean? Because I just think they're all a bunch of fucking liars.
Well, they sort of are.
Not sort of, they are.
But why is it important, though, to have that sort of opinion when you support unions, or why not just write songs about, you know, guys and girls falling in love, and why have that sort of...
That's never been the thing that's really moved us, you know what I mean? There's other bands that do that. Sorry, let me silence this. I'll call you back, my darling. That's my wife. It's, you know, I just think, you know, the kind of band that we've always been, you know, there's a higher calling, if you will, you know what I mean? We kind of see the world the way it is, and you know what I mean? Especially, you know, this many years into our career, you know, we were all married a long time ago, but or most of us, you know, and then now a lot of us have children. You know, Ken and I both have 3 children each, so you know, it's like,
how has that changed you, by the way?
Well, that's you know, that's what changes you, is having children and seeing the world the way it is, and what's becoming of the world, and what's taking place in the world, and those are really concerning to someone who's a father. You know what I mean? I you know, so I think you can't afford not to have an opinion about what's going on, and it'd be great to just write bubblegum songs, but you know, you're not. You know, you don't inspire people. You know, I don't think that doesn't inspire me.
That's what I'm getting to. I mean, should music be more than just a commercial on TV, or one of these things where it's just, hey, kissy kissy, love love, and
I mean, you know, we've had songs and commercials on TV. If you had asked me 20 years ago if that was how you were going to reach your audience, I would have said no way. But again, the geography of the music industry has changed so much that that's pretty much how you know, people don't buy. They buy chapters now. They don't buy books. You know what I mean? They buy chapters. You know, you know, you can spend a week on the track listing for your record, but it won't matter, because at the end of the day, they're not going to buy the whole thing anyways. They're going to sample it, and they're going to buy this, and then they take chapters out of context and they rewrite your story, and it's really annoying. I'm getting way ahead of myself, and
no, but you're right. But that brings me to the point, though. Are albums an outdated art form? Should you just concentrate on...
I think what's important is to get back to that. I think what's really important is to get back to the idea of getting someone's attention to be less than a soundbite. You know what I mean? That's the problem, I think, is, you know, because of these things that, you know, I mean,
great smartphones.
Just, you know, everybody's just, you know, constantly into whatever they're doing on their phone. You could walk into a room. You could be a wanted man. They could be showing your picture on the television screen. You could walk into a bus station, and no one would even know it was you, because everybody's like this. You know, I mean, it's...
Yeah, I rarely know she gets home.
Yeah.
I look at my phone, I'm like...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think, you know, it's we need to get back to, you know, the art of buying music. I think the ritual of buying music is dead. You know, I suppose you guys as well come from the era of, you know, you heard your favorite bands coming out with a new record. You wanted to buy that record. You're going to listen to that record in its entirety. You're going to
read the lyrics.
You're going to read the lyrics. You're going to look at the pictures. You're going to read the, you know, the liner notes. You're going to, you know what I mean? It's all a ritual. And now that's all been boiled down to this, you know, this sterile megabyte that you download, and there's no picture of the band. There's no human, there's no connection, you know, and we've lost that, and I think it's important to get back.
Has that changed your songwriting approach, though? I mean, do you still write for a 12-song album, or do you write for, okay, I got to have these really great 3 minutes because that's what's going to be on iTunes?
Well, you always want to write a song that's going to grab the person, obviously, but no, we don't feel like we're not going to be dictated to by, you know, that kind of... I mean, we're going to do what we do. We always do what we do. You know what I mean? I mean, a Dropkick Murphys record is going to be... I mean, we're kind of like the Ramones or AC/DC of what we do. You know what I mean? You're always going to get, you know, your bagpipes, your Irish punk rock, and your folk influence. You know what I mean? And that's... If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. So let's ask about that. You know, you have that style of music, but here you are at a heavy metal festival.
Not our first, but yeah.
Interesting for you?
Yeah, we've always done. I mean, we've played. You know, in Europe we play like you know, like face paint, black metal bands going on before us. You know, and then I've had the singer come up to me and like put his arm around me and tell me, "You're like one of my favorite bands." You know, so it's, you know, music's music. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and I'm a heavy metal fan. You know what I mean? I like heavier music as well. I can't just listen to. I certainly don't want to listen to just, you know, punk rock. You know what I mean? I want to listen to. Especially now that I'm older, you know what I mean? I'm listening to all kinds of stuff, you know.
We got 2 more minutes. Let me just ask you about Born and Bred Records. How is it having your own sort of label instead of worrying about outside influences from...
Well, you know, I mean, you're just cutting out the middleman, you know what I mean? It's just, I guess that's the good side of the way things have gone, is bands don't need, there doesn't need to be a label anymore, you know what I mean? The label's kind of obsolete. I mean, you can really, I mean, you watch all these independent artists that they don't even have a career, but they've launched themselves on YouTube, you know what I mean? Right. It's like, it's pretty amazing, you know what I mean? What these outlets have been able to get certain, you know, individuals. So, I mean, and then in the end, you know, people like what they like, so you can't stop that. I mean, I think, you know, the Born and Bred for us was just a way for us to just kind of stake our claim and kind of, we didn't have to go, oh, we have this idea, well, let's run it by the label. You know what I mean? Now it's, you know, we want to do it, that's what we're going to do. I mean, we obviously, when we put a record out, we bring in people that know what they're doing, right, because we certainly don't.
You should at this point. It's been almost 20 years.
Yeah. Well, that 20 years is focused on different fronts, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I think that was just our way of, you know, kind of cementing our brand, if you will, you know.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we're not interested in like signing other bands or anything like that, because we always say, you know, we would be responsible for sinking our own career, let alone, you know, somebody else's. Exactly.
Yeah, we got the cuts on.
Okay,
thank you.
Sorry.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Okay, nice talking
to you.
Thank you.
You too.
Have a great day.
There you have it, folks. That was Al Barr, Dropkick Murphys, and of course earlier on Zetro. Mark, let's talk festivals again. You mentioned one before.
Yeah. Again, guys, Exciter, their first U.S. show here in New York with Dan Beeler, Alan Johnson, John Ricci. I recently, within the last 2 years, I've had John Ricci on the podcast twice, and explosive interview. If you're an Exciter fan, I suggest you go back and listen to that. And this just in, guys, Dan Beeler will be on the podcast within the next probably 3 or 4 weeks for sure. So, I'm very excited for this performance. It will be in Brooklyn at the Bell House. It's all part of the Defenders of the Old 3 Festival, March 13th and 14th, 2015 in New York City. I will see you there, guys. Also appearing the Rods and High Spirits.
Yes, and in March, probably I'll be in high spirits, depending on what happens with my own personal health and stuff. But
we'll have to take some time at some point in the future to talk about that.
We'll explore that at some time. But again, let me remind folks at the end of every episode, if you like what you hear, you know, go over to iTunes and put in a nice review. Take the links. Share them with your friends, put them up on your Twitter, put them up on your Facebook. Come over to my own personal Facebook, which is Mitch Lafon. You know, friend me. I'm more than happy to take everybody in. Come in and comment. Let's talk about these things. Tell me what's right, what's wrong. Just, you know, if you like what we're doing, share. And share Mark's episode, Mark's podcast as well.
Yeah, Talking Metal. And visit talkingmetal.com, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Talk to you soon, Mitch.
Bye-bye now.